Good morning, everyone. Welcome to join us on the first PundaLive event. My name is Jessie Wu, and I'm the Sales Development Manager of Punda Germany. Today, I'm happy and proud to be the moderator of this live event. Punda is currently present in 3 destinations across Europe and twice in China to support our customer companies with their international expansion. This includes all tools from administration, sales, marketing activities to strategic planning and brand management consultation. Today, our focus in this studio is brand management. About 2 decades ago, the world has started talking about customer experience. Today, we talk about brand experience. Brand, however, is more than just advertising or communication. It is a holistic and commonly shared understanding about the company's vision, mission, and the ways how to achieve them. Brand management includes customer experience, but there are several other functions to unify and classify all the actions of the company, which includes the stakeholders from employees to investors, from society to vendors. All these parties are crucial and decisive for the company's success. Today, we will discuss about brand development with Punda's leaders. There will be a lot of experiences invited into this conversation. Riikka Hackselius-Fonsen is the founder of Punda and currently the CEO of Punda Global. She has delivered over 500 brand strategies during her career. Pertti Kolinen was one of the first members of Nokia's design team when the company started with growth on the global level. After achieving this major success with Nokia, he continued his work as the head of brand in Nordic design companies for the last 15 years. So let's kickstart with our today's journey, and let's start with the 10 reasons why we should operate the company under the brand concept. High growth rate. With successful brand management, a company can reach growth of sales quicker. This can especially be seen with the launches of new products. With companies that has higher brand awareness, there's often a boost of sales experienced. A lower expense of operations. When the target is clear and ongoing for the company is able to reach their capital goods at lower expenses. And it's attractive for the vendors, and they will most likely join at this point. Customer satisfaction will be high. When the customer is knowing what the company is delivering and they know what is to be expected from the company, their satisfaction tends to be higher, and where it leads to the reclamation rate is lower. As well as for the employees. If the employees know what they're representing, what is expected for their daily duty, they will reach their target easier and they will feel satisfied also very, very quickly. The leading distributors will be invited. When a successful brand is part of the distributor's portfolio, so if the best sellers have decided to participate in this success, then we have no worry about our growth rate for sales. There will be lower marketing expenses. As a well-known brand, the efficiency investment will be higher, whereas the costs that are used for marketing can be reused in other resources. High profitability. It turns out that companies with successful brand has higher profitable level than the average in comparison to other providers on the same business sector. And this, all the points listed above, leads to a higher value of the company. You are straightforward, you are understandable, and your company is profitable, and you tend to have higher value. And this is especially attractive for investors and owners. Last but not least, brand operations with a clear strategy, crystallized targets, and operation culture are much easier to follow for the management team. And this concludes all from the top to supervisors at all levels. There are common values shared, clear actions and measurements to follow. As you can see, this list, which I just provided you, tells you why every leader should consider and invest time and money into the company's brand building strategy. as well as all the other functions in the company. And here in studio today, we have two top professionals to help us to dive more closely to the world of brand experience. Welcome, Riikka. Welcome, Pertti.
Thank you, Jessie.
Thank you, Jessie.
Welcome. I have a few questions that I prepared, so I would like to ask you. The first one would be, please tell me, what are the differences between the marketing communication, customer experience, and brand experience?
Brand experience is much more holistic than marketing is, and it's delivered by several other functions than just the marketing department. With brand management, we have to invite all functions of the company to deliver that. That means that the crew inside the company as well as external stakeholders are capable to read the message and understand that. So, of course, marketing communication is a very important tool, as well as the customer experience is part of that journey. But those are not delivering the holistic brand experience. Or how you would like to say. But
Yeah, actually, I completely agree. I think there were a really nice list of the reasons as well. But I feel that it's combining all these experiences and different stakeholders. Quite often we think about only the customer, which of course is the key for success in a company, but there are also really important other stakeholders like the own personnel and distributors, vendors, partners, different part. It also enables us to sort of complete the strategy, so that if you have quite often strategy is implemented by communicating it, but it's much more effective to implement it so that you are doing it and you make it happen. And that's what this holistic approach to brand leadership management is doing.
Okay, so there has been a lot of holistic mentioned in that part. What is the business value of this holistic brand management?
it's definitely delivering more with the less. I think that is the basic idea, that company is able to reach better results. I mean, higher revenue or growth with better profitability. And I think that is giving the reason for all companies.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think in this digital global world and global competition where there's huge amount of noise, brand is actually the way to differentiate yourself and stand out and stand up from the noise and find your customers. It's actually the first layer of finding your company. Quite often we think about it's the products, which actually they are more sort of ensuring the promise. But the first layer is usually the brand, that you have to be found to be successful. And the business value actually is huge. I've been working with companies which have been very close to bankruptcy. With the turnover, with their making a sort of turn with their brand, they have becoming extremely successful, profitable, and growth.
Yeah. It's like a management culture, and it's delivering definitely that transparency and clear targets for all stakeholders, and at the same time independency of different functions in organizations can deliver better innovations, better service, better loyalty, and also satisfaction. Are we talking about investors, employees, or customers?
Yeah, and also I think from the company value point of view, there has been a huge shift from the soft assets, from the hard assets to soft assets.
Yes.
And nowadays the amount of soft assets of the company values is huge. It's roughly 80% or something like that. And that contains, or the big part of that is the brand value. So it has also huge impact on the corporate value.
Okay, that sounds like a really big project. As we're talking about different layers, different participants in the company. So is that possible for small to middle-sized companies to, let's say, invest into brand? And is it possible? And what steps should be taken in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's a very similar process to SMEs, to smaller companies than bigger companies. I think you have to start from the identity. The basis and the core, heart and soul of the company has to be clarified and clear. You have to share the values. They have to be real. The identity is dealing with how you talk about your company. It's like a written identity, but then there's also the visual identity, and the let's say company's identity, combination of all of this. And based off that identity, you start to build different kind of parts that are aligned with the identity, and they are sharing the values. Some companies say that the values are really, really important today, and that comes from the core of the company. But then it's really logical to use the identity as a brief for different parts of the company. If you're doing your showrooms or your marketing concept or whatever events, products, sales pitches even, it can be briefed with the identity.
And it's like a process. We should start from understanding of business environment, where we are acting. That is the basic, I think, core for good brand, that you know who you are, what is your position, what kind of individual identity company is running, and what kind of benefits it's sharing for all its stakeholders. And when understanding this, the strategy is more clear and it's easier to communicate for different stakeholders. And so it's like, know your markets, make your decisions, keep those decisions, and such a way you are able to reach that journey. It won't be quick. It takes time, but there isn't a fast track. So all other ways are taking more than all this concentration to basics, I think.
Yeah, I think it's also really cost efficient, because once you have identified the direction and you constantly move to that direction instead of changing your direction all the time, or concepting your bits and pieces every other year, it's much more cost effective that you are going to a certain direction in a logical way. And that leads to the, let's say, holistic brand. Holistic is a little bit difficult word, but it means that it touches everything, and it's in a solid and aligned in a way. So it's not fractioned in any way.
And we have to remember that all companies has been small in beginning, and later on they when they have made right journey, they have been able to reach that position, for instance, as a leading brand of some field. But so all companies own the same opportunity, but does they own courage and discipline to follow that? We can also see that those companies who has been following that journey has reached that internal power, like reach their targets. It's like a fire inside of company. Staff is willing to work day and nights for the company, and they feel that company is also delivering their targets and mission. And the same flame is spread also for external stakeholders, for instance, for vendors or for customers. So I think that SMEs don't have opportunity to take a step away from this journey. I think it's such a way basics.
I agree. And I think you can always add value to any business by starting to become more, let's say, interesting. And quite often I hear the comment that we are a little bit like a commodity business or bulk business. But you can always add value by doing it in a, let's say, more human-driven way that is appealing to the customers. And when you add value, it usually means you get better prices, selling prices, and more margin. So it doesn't apply only to certain, let's say, top segment branches or companies. It applies to everything, B2B, B2C.
Yes.
So, and then the last question is like, in your opinion, why is it so important team invest into this brand management, especially into this holistic, like we mentioned a lot of the time, the holistic. So it's like a big project that we're looking at, probably taking a big amount of time and costs. So like, why should we like take the first steps? Like, why do we have to do that?
First, I think it doesn't add cost because it's aligned. I think I was working once in a company that was constantly adjusting their brand concept, and that's really, really expensive. That you are constantly changing the direction and concepting it all the time. Once you have done it and you holistically and logically continue the path, it's actually much more cost effective. So that I think is the crucial point.
Yes, and if we think about that in export markets, that if you are building your brand, not just renewing that time to time for the markets and pleasing customers, you might please different kind of markets with different kind of actions or brand images that is paying even more. So real brand is unified in all markets, and it should be designed in such a level that it is capable to attract audience in different destinations globally, not just in some specific markets or in local action. So
Local
there,
geographical area.
yes, it should be spread it out globally, similar ways to all markets.
Yeah, and I think part of the holistic nature is that it's really important that the same value base is seen with all the stakeholders. I was once working in a company that had really bad reputation with the vendors. And that actually is really, really harmful for the brand in general. And that's why it has to be holistic and seamless, and it has to be sort of present everywhere.
Yes. And from my own idea is that any company can't step away from this journey, like mentioned. So all those bullets, which Jesse already listed there, are highlighting the meaning of brand and giving the reason. So that if you are able to act with half of your marketing cost in long term, it's giving value for investors and owners to be on board.
Yeah, I even felt that in let's say in 10 years there probably won't be any companies that would be strongly on the basis on their values and creating a holistically appealing company, because customers have a choice, B2B, B2C. They can choose any company, anywhere, anytime. So you have to really understand that the competition is global, and you have to stand up in the competition and be interesting and appealing. You can't afford to do any flops in claims or reclamations or whatever. So it's always a huge harm for the company.
And identity should be individual enough.
Exactly.
Easily we copy competitors and think that we should take same tools than what they are using. And that is very basic mistake together with that redesigning of things.
Exactly.
Because audience is just learning you in 2 or 3 years. And if you are shifting your idea every second year or so you are spending, but you are not reaching the real end results.
And in the global noise, you have to differentiate yourself, otherwise you won't be found. And brand gives actually huge amount of opportunities to differentiate yourself, so that you are standing out from the noise and you are interesting.
Yes.
You will be found.
And if we think that we have reached something, that might be also giving us wrong inspiration that now we have reached our position and we can stay there and we are the winners.
Yeah.
But we really have to continue also after that, because there is so much examples about companies who has thought that now we are the market leaders and now we can concentrate to our basics, so to our products.
Exactly.
And after 2 years, there has been collapse of the market. I think you have this kind of experience from your
history.
past.
Yeah, that's true. It's a huge risk to stand still. You always have to think about, because it takes a while before your actions start to become reality in the brand. So you always have to be a few steps ahead of what your company looks like at the moment. So you have to plan it and think about the changes in the customer behavior and so on. So it's a constant evolving thing.
Yeah, and top priority of C-level management of the company. I think that if C-level managers don't own the common understanding about company's brand capability and identity, it's going to be broken later on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the heart and soul of the company. So it's not only operational marketing. So it's really in the core, and it has to be on the top. That's the only way to be able to cascade it down to everything that you do.
So brand is the identity of the company, but how it behaves is coming from its wings and the management team who is pumping the heart and keep the blood pressure at the right level. I understand that many of you probably sitting right here or listening to our event are in the first steps of considering going to brand building. So that's why I'm really proud and happy to tell you that we have a training program that's coming up in this September. And this event will be led by local experts. And there you're going to learn a lot more about brand and how to build it and the strategy that we need to undertake in order to be successful. So in Germany, the event will be held in German, and in Finland in Finnish, and in China in Chinese. And that's why I would like to invite our German facilitator, Markus, to come to join us at the show. Guten Morgen. Hallo, Markus.
Guten Morgen, hallo. Guten Morgen aus dem sonnigen Dresden.
Wie geht es Ihnen heute in Dresden?
Danke, sehr gut. Wir haben einen sonnigen Sommertag. Wir starten hier gerade, ich bin an der Hochschule. Vielleicht starte ich schon gleich mit meiner, wie soll ich sagen, kleinen Einführung. Ich bin von Hause aus Industriedesigner und Hochschullehrer, Professor für Produktdesign hier in Dresden. Mein Studio ist eigentlich in Berlin, aber eben hier in Dresden. Und wir starten gleich mit der Lehre, gleich mit dem Unterricht.
Okay, so for those who might not understand German, he is a professor, and he is in Dresden at the moment, and he'll be undertaking the courses very soon. So I have a few questions for you, Markus. So how do you see that? Like, what are the key facts of the German brand development stage?
We switch into English now, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. What can you say as a German? I think we are pretty much a culture of engineering and technical innovation, of technical invention. So I think many of our quite successful companies and company owners, they are proud of the technical performance and the technical quality of their products, and they are quite often quite successful with this kind of approach and this kind of value. But when it comes to design, when it comes to product design, to communication design, to corporate design, I think there's still some potential for increase. And I think design in these different layers, like product design, communication design, product design, plays an important role when it comes to brand identity. So okay. I think since we have this history of being more or less technical culture, I see some potential for increase when it comes to design and brand, etc.
Okay, so I based on your knowledge and based on your experience, I'm pretty sure that you are the let's say, the excellent facilitator in the autumn BrandLab. And I
Thank you
wish
very
I
much.
can meet you in autumn and to see you there with our trainees. Thank you, Max, for
Yeah.
joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm
And
really looking forward to join the event later on. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I would like to invite the Chinese facilitator Sherman to come and join us. 你好， Sherman
Hello，
先生，你好，
你好。
请您简单的介绍一下您自己。
好的。我是中国台湾人啊。我开始工作于芝加哥。我是任职在一个全球性的广告公司。从我开始工作的时候，那之后我调到香港办公室以及北京办公室，在那里我加入了甲方，是麦当劳的全国市场总监。那之后呢，我离开以后创业过一段时间，那又被招募到 LVMH 集团，担任他的丝芙兰品牌的这个大中华区的首席营销长。那离开了企业以后呢，我又在过往这几年，我在上海交大，还有一些其他的机构，专注在商业模式还有品牌管理，担任授课以及咨询。
Okay. So for those who might not understand Chinese, Sherman has a broad background in different companies. We're talking about McDonald's, we're talking about Sephora as a brand. So we just discussed a few words with Marcus from Germany about the German stage of brand building. So China is a very different market with its market speed, with the digitalizations. But please tell us a little bit more about how you see the brand building stage in China.
Okay. Well, I think first of all, in the over past 10 years, the China GDP has grown for more than 80%. So the entire business environment is a lot diversified. But this also gives us the opportunity to be more, other than the marketing itself, but also on the business strategy-wise. So the business model also let the marketing and brand building to have many more chances, and also allow Chinese business to go abroad to the world, like you see the TikTok performance globally. So I think we can say that is in the traditional manufacturing environment, China benefit because of the economy of the scale. And so we have a very good foundations. And right now, the digital world is coming. And because of this new consumption upgrade, so there's a lot of expenditures put into the market, so allow brand building to become the necessity.
Okay, so and then thank you very much for answering. What principle would you like to highlight for companies in the Chinese market, especially who is looking for branding?
Well, I think in the past we see brand as a trust. That when we think of a brand, we think we have some automatically we have some visuals about the brand culture, brand value. But I think in today we need to push a little bit further. Make the people, when they think about the brand, they feel empowered. So that either the brand make them happy, make them smarter, make them have more self-confidence. I think that's what brand ultimately can do for the consumers.
Thank you very much, Sherman. Thank you for joining us. And now I would like to enter for the question and answering sessions. And I would like to ask Riikka and Pertti to join me on this stage. Yeah. So the Q&A, we actually have a question that came in beforehand. So the question is, in your opinion, like what is the timeline for brand building? And is there like any way that I do it faster? Say that I have a fast track to brand building? Maybe ladies first. Riikka can start.
Brand building is a lifetime journey for the company, I think. So to become real brand, it takes years. Of course, we can easily or not so easily. When we are lucky, when we are on right time, in right place, we probably can create phenomenon, but it's not the brand. it can also mislead the company in that stage, because when your sales is rising rapidly, you think that, okay, now I have the key for success, and you are investing more. And then suddenly, when you don't have real brand, you are dropping after that trend is over. And nowadays, trends are coming and going quicker than earlier. So it's more dangerous nowadays than it was earlier.
Okay. And you, Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah, I pretty much the same ideas. I think it's the slowness comes from our mind. It's very fast to have. We have fast tools, digital tools to implement things, but our mind changes slowly, and that's what creates the inertia, the slowness in the thinking. Or it's not slowness; it's just we have to give people time. And I hear this question quite often, that now when we have these really effective digital tools, can we boost the thing that it takes only a half a year? But we have to be patient, and it's a long journey, as Riikka mentioned, because it's so holistic, as it has been mentioned so many times.
Yes.
But it has to go everywhere. It has to be present everywhere. It has to be real everywhere. So it takes time, and even when the brand is in a good shape in the company, it takes a while before the customers start to see it and understand it. Now they are doing something interesting for me.
Yeah, it's take at least 2 years that your audience understands what you are saying. So expect your results after 3 years or so. Even though the internally guys already think that this is boring, I have to work with the same thing time after time. But that is also important stage that you start to realize that it's not just something what you are moving, it's something what you are living.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a very common thing, that companies start to regenerate their brand because they are a little bit bored already internally, but it's not even visibly properly outside. So you have to really understand that it's from the customers and human point of view from outside, which matters most. Of course, you have to stand on your values and be on board as well. But
So in this 2 or 3 years journey that we're talking about, there's a question like, who should be in charge of this brand building then? So like, who's responsible for that?
I think it has to be a top management issue. It has to come from the top. There has to be the vision, because it's so holistic again. It covers everything pretty much, and that's why it has to be. And then you have to understand. First, you have to participate a lot of people, that they understand what we are trying to do, why we select these values. But then the decision-making tool has to be very, very sharp and agile and fast. Otherwise, it's all over the place pretty much. So you have to discuss with people and get them committed, and then you have to drive it forward with a good pace and dynamics.
Andrew?
Yeah, because it's cultural part of the company, and it's the biggest value or for owners as well. So it should be led by CEO or C-level guys in the organization, but it doesn't mean that everyone shouldn't be educated and invited to be part of that. And for that reason, there should be also brand leading capabilities in different parts of organization. So production portfolio, or R&D, or also customer service department, as well as key accountants or marketing. All of those should be really aware how this process can be led the best possible ways.
Yeah, I remember once our human relationship director was going to have a speech. And then we were implementing our brand in a company, and suddenly she realized that she's actually representing the brand in that event. She's just not only talking about the HR issues. It's about having a brand touch point to the audience. For me, it was like a really nice moment when I started to understand that they start to get the idea that we are representing the values in everything that we do.
Yeah, and those measure points, there is different kind of priorities for different stages of the company strategy. So you are not able to be perfect in everything at the same time, but you can concentrate to specific actions or operations internally to create that impression for the markets.
Yeah, that's really important to prioritize the first and most biggest influential touch points of the brand. And it's a journey, as Riikka mentioned, that it takes a while.
Okay. And I just see there's another question come up from the audience. What are the most common mistakes that people make with this brand building that we're talking for the day?
We already discussed about changing the direction all the time, but I think that it's very much based on the fact that companies try to jump over the basics. There isn't trustworthy understanding about business environment and consumer behavior development. And based on that, all that data, what company collects, doesn't deliver that feeling that we know what we are doing. And based on that, the strategic decisions are weak. And when we have a weak strategy, we have a weak execution of the strategy. So we are not able to jump directly to action. So jumping to communication or marketing or digitalization isn't the tool make the brand if you don't have very a strong strategic understanding internally and the identity which is based on that. So conceptualization is also important part of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think first, quite often the identity is not clear or it's not real, genuine. You have to have real values and everybody has to be committed on it, not by force, but the feeling that they are inspirational. And second, I think quite often brand is boxed in marketing department and then it doesn't become generic and aligned. It's only communication, which is actually, of course, important, but you have to also split it to the doing. And the third one, I think, is that it's not, the top management is not driving it or committed on it. So it's the mid-management is trying to do something, but they don't have the mandate and they don't have the possibility to have this very broad sort of effect on the company.
Okay. Thank you for all the guests and participants, whether on site or online. I will summarize in that world is open to all of us, but as a company, we have to do our homework and we have to do them well. And in that concern, I would say we will invite those professionals to do them, that we can have the homework done in the professional level. And I know that Punda has done many times in the past, actually not just in brand, but also in operation field as well. So, and as the slogan says, we bring the world next to you. So that's why please come and join us on the training program in September. And I thank you again to join us, and I wish to see you all in September. And please remember to sign up for the event and subscribe to our channels for the latest update. Thank you.
We are all born to take our first small and bigger steps towards the great ones. We are equal in our constant desire for development to become bigger, brighter, and more respected. As a person, as a nation, and as a company, this is the point of Punda. We bring the world next to you. Internationalization and universal brand creation are journeys towards a bigger, brighter, and more respected future. It starts with inner clarity and self-confidence by creating a strategy. This invites all stakeholders, from employees and vendors to customers and investors, to participate in the journey. Our team helps organizations build clarity with an in-depth market insight and foreseen strategies that are ready to be conceptualized and implemented at all touchpoints of the company's brand experience. You are not alone with us. Punda's experts will guide you and provide a platform to manage your external journey. We don't just support over the table. We also have a role to play in real places and activities on 2 continents, in several countries and cities. We are to be your partner and keep your point to become bigger. Punda. We bring the world next to you.